Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 8.
I have no idea.
I think this is 8.
The weather's been so bad. We've been working day and night in the horse barn, so it's all a blur. I have no idea.
Yep. So we've missed a handful of days here, but you know, whenever you do a Bible study, you know, it don't have to be. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like if you miss some days, and sometimes you're gonna miss some days, and we've missed about,
All in all,
all in all,
like 5 or 6.
yeah, we've probably almost missed a week, so total. But I think since our last one was about 2 or 3 days, something like that. Anyhow, we've been super busy here with all the weather, as I'm sure everyone else has, and it's all day pretty much dealing with the farm and all this and that. So
Yeah, it's a lot, and I'm exhausted.
so here we are. I don't know what today is. Today's Tuesday night. So we're going to pick back up. We're in Exodus 13 through 15 of the chronological Bible study. Once again, we put this on YouTube, and then we share it from YouTube to our Facebook. That way, in YouTube, I can put the links and stuff, you know, to the Bible app and with the stuff like that. So, if there's anything you'd like, you know, anything else you'd like I said, we're new at this. This is day 8 of video in it.
Yeah, but for us, it's like 2 months.
Yeah, but you know, video. If there's something that you'd like to see from us, or you know, if you, I don't know, you have any ideas, you know,
Want
maybe
us to shut up?
or maybe Matt, you tell me to shut up.
No, but people
Okay,
may.
Ooh, girl, ooh, girl. First, yeah, if you have any ideas or anything you think could make the Bible study better, then you know, let us know. If you watch it all the way through, let us know. I'm not even sure anybody watches this all the way through.
Me either.
But you know, it don't matter. That's not why we're doing it. We're doing it just, like I said, if one person comes along with us, then we've done our job. So,
Ready?
anyhow, all right. So here we go.
Exodus 13. The Lord said to Moses, "Consecrate to me every firstborn male. The first offspring of every womb among the Israelites belongs to me, whether human or animal." Then Moses said to the people, "Commemorate this day, the day you came out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, because the Lord brought you out of it with a mighty hand. Eat nothing containing yeast. Today, in the month of Aviv, you are leaving. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites, the land he swore to your ancestors to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, you are to observe this ceremony in this month. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, and on the 7th day hold a festival to the Lord. Eat unleavened bread during those 7 days. Nothing with yeast in it is to be seen among you, nor shall any yeast be seen anywhere within your borders. On that day, tell your son, I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. This observance will be for you like a sign on your hand and a reminder on your forehead that this law of the Lord is to be on your lips. For the Lord brought you out of Egypt with his mighty hand. You must keep this ordinance at the appointed time year after year. After the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites and gives it to you, as he promised on oath to you and your ancestors, you are to give over to the Lord the first offspring of every womb. All the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem every firstborn among your sons. In days to come, when your son asks you, what does this mean? Say to him, with a mighty hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, The Lord killed the firstborn of both people and animals in Egypt. This is why I sacrifice to the Lord the first male offspring of every womb and redeem each of my firstborn sons. And it will be like a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead that the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty hand. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt ready for battle. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath. He had said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. After leaving Succoth, they camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. Exodus 14. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp near Pi Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. They are to encamp by the sea directly opposite Baal Zephon. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are wandering around the land in confusion, hemmed in by the desert. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. But I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites did this. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about them and said, what have we done? We have let the Israelites go and have lost their services. So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. He took 600 of the best chariots, along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them.
600.
The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, horsemen and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Pi Hahiroth, opposite Baal Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. Moses answered the people, do not be afraid, stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Then the Lord said to Moses, why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water, so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them, and I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then the angel of God, who had been traveling in front of Israel's army, withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel. Throughout the night, the cloud brought darkness to the one side and light to the other side, so neither went near the other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. The Egyptians pursued them, and all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw it into confusion. He jammed the
Apparently the battery died. He jammed the wheels of their chariots so that they had difficulty driving. And the Egyptians said, "Let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen." Moses stretched out his hands over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back to its place. The Egyptians were fleeing toward it, and the Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen. The entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea, not one of them survived. But the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. And when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses his servant. Exodus 15. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. "I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has turned into the sea." Hurled. He is hurled into the sea. Thank you for correcting me.
You're welcome.
"The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has hurled into the sea. The best of Pharaoh's officers are drowned in the Red Sea. The deep waters have covered them. They sank to the depths like a stone. Your right hand, Lord, was majestic in power. Your right hand, Lord, shattered the enemy. In the greatness of your majesty, you threw down those who opposed you. You unleashed your burning anger. It consumed them like stubble. By the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. The surging waters stood up like a wall. The deep waters congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy boasted, "I will pursue, I will overtake them. I will divide the spoils. I will gorge myself on them. I will draw my sword, and my hand will destroy them." But you blew with your breath, and the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who among the gods is like you, Lord? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders? You stretch out your hand, and the earth swallows your enemies. In your unfailing love, you will lead the people you have redeemed. In your strength, you will guide them to your holy dwelling. The nations will hear and tremble. Anguish will grip the people of Philistia. The chiefs of Edom will be terrified. The leaders of Moab will be seized with trembling. The people of Canaan will melt away. Terror and dread will fall on them. By the power of your arm, they will be as still as a stone, until your people pass by, Lord, until the people you bought pass by. You will bring them in and plant them on the mountain of your inheritance, the place, Lord, you made for your dwelling, the sanctuary, Lord, your hands established. The Lord reigns forever and ever. When Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and horsemen went into the sea, the Lord brought the waters of the sea back over them, but the Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground. Then Miriam the prophet, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her. With timbrels and dancing, Miriam sang to them, "Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he is hurled into the sea." Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went into the desert of Shur.
God bless
Ah. For 3 days, they traveled in the desert without finding water. When they... Cashman was like, huh? When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. That is why the place is called Marah. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying, "What are we to drink?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. He threw it to the water, and the water became fit to drink. There, the Lord issued a ruling and instruction for them to put them to rest, to put them to the test. He said, "If you listen carefully to the Lord, your God, and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I have brought on the Egyptians. For I am the Lord who heals you." Then they came to Elim. Where, you like how I said that? Elim? I like put like a accent. Elim. Where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there near the water.
Okay, I think that's it. Or 13, 14,
That is
15?
it. Yep, 13, 14, 15.
Okay, since my cell phone is dead, we're just going to have to read the notes.
Okay, so
I have a ton.
I've got a lot too.
You want to read yours?
My notes?
Hmm?
I didn't write down any.
No, I mean like on the bottom.
What? You didn't write any notes down?
Oh my gosh.
You don't have notes on the bottom here?
The footnotes on the bottom.
Oh, he's got some like...
He's got some different stuff.
I have a lot right here.
Well, do you want to read your page, or you want me to read mine?
Go ahead.
I have a page.
Okay, so 13. All right, so we've got a lot of footnotes here. So here we go.
Right there on the right.
13 verses 1 through 2, and 11 through 16. The consecration of the firstborn sons of Israel points to the important position of the firstborn in family dynamics. Since God has spared the lives of the firstborn of Israel during the Passover, in a very real sense, they all belonged to him. As a result, the Israelites had to sacrifice a lamb to buy their firstborn sons back from God. All of our children should be viewed as being on loan from God. The public dedication of our children to God is a helping tradition, reminding us of that fact.
So the Passover. So they sacrificed the lamb, the blood over the door.
Right.
Earned the Passover. So the firstborn are always owed to God. Right?
Yeah. So
looking at it that way, I had not.
right. So is it saying like when we first started off? I guess I don't know if I was just not paying attention or what, but was it talking when he started saying, commemorate this day you came out of Egypt and land of the Savior because of the contaminated blah blah blah. Eat unleavened bread. I do this to you because the Lord came out of Egypt and observe this to you will be a sign of your hand in the room of the Lord. Where does it talk about? Where does it talk about their first deal? All the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. What are they talking about? Redeem it? Are they talking about sacrifice it?
Yeah, I think redeeming.
So when it's saying redeem with a lamb every firstborn, redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey.
No, redeem a lamb every firstborn donkey. But if you do not redeem it, break its neck. That's going to be 13. So 13:13. Mine says 13:13. The donkey as an unclean animal can be offered as a sacrifice. Could not be offered as a sacrifice.
Oh, so donkeys are considered unclean.
Mm-hmm. But to spare its life, an owner could redeem or buy it back with a lamb offered in sacrifice in its place.
Sorry.
So a lamb could take the place of the donkey.
I got you.
Stop yawning.
This
Okay.
fire was just all warm on my back.
Where were you?
17 through 18. Swinging southeast to the Red Sea was not the fastest route from Egypt, but to the Promised Land. But it was the route that God chose for the Israelites to follow. The shortest route between 2 points is not always the best. God's will often God's will often calls us to take the more scenic routes. These, though longer and sometimes harder, are often God's means of accomplishing His will. In the Israelites' case, they were given the opportunity to see God overcome a huge obstacle, the Red Sea. This gave them the additional fuel for their faith, building their courage for the journey ahead. It also helped them avoid dangers in the land of the Philistines that they were not yet prepared to face. 13 verse 19.
Can you imagine walking and somebody, like the sea splits and you just walk through it? Can you imagine the faith to walk through it?
Mm-hmm.
That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
Pretty wild.
That'd be what you call an aha moment. Aha. That would be crazy.
Here we see that Joseph's bones made the journey to the Promised Land. Many years earlier, Joseph had made his descendants promise that they would bring his bones with them. Joseph believed God's promise to Abraham that someday Canaan would belong to his descendants. Joseph was a godly example to his descendants. And here we see that he was remembered 400 years after his death.
Wow.
400
years.
God, oh. Man, it's all nice and toasty in here. We should accept the truth about our families. The good things should be remembered and treasured, even as the bad ones must be faced, dealt with, and used to teach us how to redirect our course. 13:21 through 22. God guided his people out of slavery to a new life of freedom and responsibility by his visible presence in the pillar of a cloud and the pillar of fire. He led them to reclaim the promises. Well, you're giving me the odds, quick. He had given their ancestor Abraham centuries earlier. When we are committed to God, we too can count on his leading. He has sent his Holy Spirit to us, as John 16:7 through 15 talks about, and has promised to never leave or forsake us. 14:1 through 9. The Israelites were between a rock and a hard place, the Red Sea on one side and the Egyptian army on the other. And though the Israelites had already seen God do great miracles in Egypt, it must have been hard for them to wait and see how God would save them. Look out.
Did we tell you we've been working a lot of hours?
If I'm not in the morning, then I'm yawning at night.
We're getting old.
I know. God would save them from this ominous situation. Our situations may seem just as hopeless, but look at you.
Stop it.
But nothing is a hopeless dead end for God. He will always provide a door leading to the next step in his plan. 14:10 through 12. In all their fear, the Israelites cried out to God for help. Their terrified complaints show that their faith in God was limited. But at last, they saw their need for God in the situation and looked to him for help. As a result, their discouragement and fear were soon turned into amazement and rejoicing. 14:13 through 31. Here we see a great miracle. I don't know where I got giant from. I just overlaid giant over great. Giant great. I guess it could mean the same thing. Here we see a great miracle take place. God opened up a dry path through the Red Sea for the people to cross. Notice that even... I'm just taking a deep breath. Notice that even with this amazing... My eyes are... I'm yawning. My eyes are watering. It's getting blurry. Notice that even with this amazing miracle, the Israelites still had to respond in faith. They still had to walk between the massive walls of water that could have become a tidal wave at any moment. These steps of faith require commitment to God, and this surely resulted in the growth of the Israelites' faith. The miracles that God works in our life also requires that we respond in faith, stepping out to receive all the blessings He desires for us.
Is that all?
No. 15, 1 through 21. Israel's escape through the Red Sea took a mighty miracle from God and an act of faith by the Israelites. Often the road... Oh, that's the timer for the ribs.
It's okay.
Often the road to victory is not easy, but it is still worth it. There will be something to rejoice about in the end if we depend on God to help us through. And when we have gained the victory, we need to stand up, sing, and rejoice, remembering God's miracle on our behalf. We went through
16. We made it to 16. So
okay.
Through 15.
15, 22 through 27. Those of us just beginning the process of spiritual renewal often have short memories. That would be us, or at least me. We quickly forget the important victories that have brought us to our present state of freedom. We also may tend to fall back into reacting to crisis as we did in the past, before we begin to speak to God or seek God. Despite God's recent victories on the Israelites' behalf, they still became desperate when their water ran out. And this happened only a few days after the miracle at the Red Sea. They were still unwilling or unable to exercise faith in God. Even so, God came through with an immediate, abundant provision for their need. So that's all that I have.
I find it like what we will never experience anything like that. I don't think we may. I don't think we will. But I just can't even wrap my head around what it would be like to walk up to the sea. Winds begin to blow, and then you walk.
Well, it was overnight.
Yeah, but winds begin to blow, so it blew the water apart. So I mean, but can you imagine walking, and in these walls of water on either side? Wow.
I think that it, just as it's talking about, it must have taken
a great amount of faith.
A huge amount of faith. You know, just to, and then, you know, for that to happen, then afterwards, still question where your drinking water's coming from.
No.
I mean, I think if I watch somebody part the Red Sea for me to walk through, then, man, you could tell me the sky was falling, and I'd believe it.
Well, I think that, you know, and okay, so there was concern about water, right? There had to have been like some that had just walked through this path through the Red Sea, and they were convinced. You know what I mean? They were convinced, they had faith, everything was great. They knew that they would be provided for. Then there's always that group that doesn't convince easily. It's like I can't help but think that, you know, things probably haven't changed too much as far as there's always the, oh yeah, well, what are we going to drink now? And so,
right.
But I can't imagine. I think you have to, what is it, blind faith?
It's blind faith, and that goes back to, you know, that goes back to the whole deal, you know, where we were talking about, you know, when we first started the whole Bible thing. You know, and it talks, you know, it's kind of, you just have to believe it. You just have to accept it.
Oh, without faith that's just a book.
And believe the stories, happen, the way they did. And, that's...
Without faith, it's just a book of stories.
Yeah.
It's just entertainment.
But, it'd have been hard for me to believe that, I think it'd been hard for me to believe that somebody's going to part freaking Lake of the Pines for me to walk through.
Well, the thing about it was they didn't have to believe for the path to be made, which I think says a lot in its own. They didn't have to, they had to do nothing but follow. They didn't have to believe, they didn't have to have faith. Moses did the work with God's help, right? So the work was done for them. All they had to do was follow. Doesn't that say a lot?
Yeah. It's amazing. It's just amazing the God's power. The more I read about it, it's just pretty crazy. What do you think, man? What do you think?
Yeah, like that.
He's a man of many words.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry that my phone died today. Totally my fault. Sorry for his yawning.
Yeah, I do apologize. We had to kind of move it in here. One, because this is the warmest place of the house. God's blessed us for our electricity to still be working.
It may not be working really well. The heat may not be working well, but we have it better than most that don't have power. So.
Well, typically most people's air conditioners and stuff.
Let's not talk about anything that we have because.
Well, they're not. Stuff around here is not
it.
designed to operate in -0 temperatures, sub-zero temperatures. People. This is Texas. Machines around here aren't designed to operate in sub-zero temperatures.
Amen. I'm
but
one of those
you know
machines.
what? You know what will always work in sub-zero temperatures?
Fire.
Voila.
Yes.
So anyhow, but our dining table is full of every piece of winter clothing because that's kind of where we go in and out of the house. Is by the kitchen. So
everything warm.
Everything warm is laying across our dining
Drying
table.
out.
So we moved it in here. We may be here again tomorrow morning, but it probably will be. Anyhow, guys, thank y'all. If y'all joined us for the whole thing, thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Again, if there's anything that you'd like to see on this, ways that we can make it better to be able to get to more people, maybe. We're not experts at this. We're not even. I wouldn't even say we're rookies at it. We're
pre-rookies.
We're pre-rookie, kind of like pre-med. You're not like in med or pre-law. We're like pre. We're pre-Bible studiers.
We're pre-newbies.
Yeah. So we're trying to learn it. And it's So if you have any input, it would be great for us. So again, thank y'all very much if you joined us. If y'all have any questions, call me. If you need a Bible, let us know.
Have a good night and stay warm.
Well, she's cutting me off.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
I hit my zapper here. Don't think it's gonna work.
I think you're gonna actually have to use the old school like